For 20 years, Zimbabweans have slipped into further poverty, their economy crushed by unsustainable debt and hyperinflation. The United States passed sanctions after then-President Robert Mugabe launched a violent election crackdown. Meant to target leaders, they have far-reaching consequences, including on ordinary Zimbabweans like Blessing Zinzi, an informal trader.
These sanctions have let us down and continue to suppress our business, and their wish is to see us suffer, but God will not forsake us.
In the late 1990s, this factory ran at full capacity and planned to expand. But international sanctions made attracting foreign investments impossible. It is now a shadow of its former self.
We used to employ over 350 employees here. We are now down to less than 50 employees. Just that tells you what sanctions are. We used to train refrigeration mechanics. And all the refrigeration mechanics that we've trained, which are much more than 300, have all left the country and are working all elsewhere outside the country.
The European Union eased sanctions in 2019, but the US has maintained its restrictions. Zimbabwe also does not receive aid from the International Monetary Fund. President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who succeeded Mugabe in 2017, has called for an end to rules which block banks from lending money to the country. Some Zimbabweans support his call, like this group that regularly protests outside US Embassy in the capital Harare. But the US demands that Zimbabwe hold more credible elections and respect human rights. It also wants the country to adhere to a court ruling to pay $9 billion in compensation to white farmers whose properties were seized during Mugabe's land reforms. The protesters, though, demand that the sanctions be scrapped unconditionally.
We don't want conditions to be given to the government or the people of Zimbabwe to say do this so that we'll remove sanctions. Actually, especially when it's being done by the so-called people who claim to be masters of democracy and human rights, yet they fail to uphold the things that they preach.
But the US refuses to carry blame for Zimbabwe's economic state. It points the finger instead to mismanagement and corruption.